Tell me a little bit about what you think is driving the overall sovereign cloud consumption.
Yeah, as I mentioned, right, public cloud has grown partly in stealth mode. Over the last 10 years, people using credit cards rather than going to their IT departments because it was easier. And we now have a huge amount of data held in public cloud, American public cloud vendors typically. And what we found is business leaders are really concerned over putting critical data into those clouds. So data that relates to operations and national interests, for example, the police, energy, defense, or heavily verticalized industries as well, where there may not be the necessary compliance in those clouds, or you're unable to find out where your data actually is. And that really has been compounded, I think, by the geopolitical changes, where lots of business leaders, again, believe that financial and environmental regulations will become more of a threat to them. So take, for example, the pressure of environment with carbon commitments. When you move to a cloud provider, you move from a greenhouse gas protocol stage 1 or 2 to a stage 3, which effectively means you're outsourced, right? The requirement of providing clean energy or renewable energy now falls to the cloud provider to provide that transparency back to you, so you can satisfy your supply chain that you're meeting your carbon commitments. So there's a lot of regulation that's been introduced the last few years that is now starting to affect businesses because it's getting included in bid processes. So if you're not compliant with those regulations, then it can be a problem. So you've got ever-changing regulations, you've got the concern about public security, you've also got massive economic pressure that we're seeing now, particularly in Europe, and inflation is going to be a threat to all businesses, whether we like it or not. And all the time we've got cyber attacks coming in. The cyber terrorists are really having a great time picking out people who are unprotected, and I think it's like 88% of boards, according to IDC, are looking at cybersecurity as a serious business risk. So protecting from all these things is really important, and businesses are starting to recognize this. And of course, you also got to remember that data volumes are not decreasing. Data volumes grow at 26% year on year, and particularly unstructured data, which is really quite hard to manage classification of. Unstructured data is growing at a higher rate, and businesses are really becoming aware that that need to manage the unstructured data is a problem. So there's a whole load of things that are driving sovereign cloud consumption and sovereign cloud, the market. It really is a perfect storm at the moment for sovereign cloud. And this is why it's taking such a predominance in the business today.